Welcome to the Faithless podcast, your sanctuary for soulful exploration and practical wisdom, where spiritual growth joins together with the hustle of daily life. I'm your host, Monica Roxanne. I'm so glad you decided to join me and countless others because this is your moment for reflection, for growth, for real life change. Whether you're seeking a whisper of inspiration or a robust blueprint for action, the Faithless podcast stands as a testament to the daring spirit within all of us. So, to my pursuers and my dreamers, to my doers and believers, our journey awaits. Welcome. Hey fam, this is your girl, your host, Monica Roxanne, and I'm super glad to be back this week with another episode on the Faithless podcast. I'm really excited about this conversation because you guys know we have a special guest with us. So today we're going to have Krystle Nicole from Phree Living Company out of Alabama, and a dear friend of mine who is an inspiration to so many women and entrepreneurs. And I am tickled pink to have her here and to introduce her to the Faithless community. Listen, today we're going to talk about the power of faith, the pursuit of freedom, and the courage to walk in God's given purpose. And so Krystle is going to share her personal journey about breaking through limitations that women in the faith, us as people of color, what it's like to be an entrepreneur and what it's like to live free in her own way. So with that being said, listen, before we jump into this conversation, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join the movement, because we know that we are strengthening our faith only one episode at a time, and I need your help to do it. Without further ado, Krystle, my girl, how are you?
I am great. Super excited to be here with you. Like, I haven't seen you, talk to you in forever.
I know, right? It's been like two of the busiest ladies in the world. Like, the last couple of years have been fairly interesting, quite a revelation and some growth. We got to dive into our faith and connect more as far as the community is concerned. So listen, share with everyone a little bit about who you are and what is this thing called Phree Living.
My name is Krystle Nicole. I reside in North Alabama. I am a mother, far and foremost. That's my most prized title. I'm mommy to Ian, who is about to be Monica, he's about to be 16 years old here in June. So can we add that to the prayer list?
Right. Yeah.
Ian is about to
Amazing.
be 16. So I am a mother. I am a corporate baddie. It's what I like to call myself. I manage a high-paced, high-performance sales team in one of the top telecommunications company. I am a business owner, a very proud business owner. I am recently gained the title of community activist, I guess you could call that. I'm a philanthropist. I absolutely get a thrill and such fulfillment giving back to my community, and not just my community here close by, but globally. Which is one of the reasons why I started my business, Phree Living Company. So I started Phree Living Company about 6 years ago. So April 26th of this year, we will be celebrating 6 full years of business. So super
Remember
excited
that.
about that.
I
Yeah,
remember
super
you.
excited about it because a lot of people don't make it to year number 6, especially with a storefront. I've had a storefront all of those years, and I will tell you, it has been quite the journey. But I started Phree Living because a couple of reasons. One of the reasons was there was nobody doing the natural health and wellness the way that I wanted to do it, the way I wanted to receive it. So I literally found a need in my community, and snap your fingers, it blew up overnight, right? The second reason was I was a single mom at the time, and I literally just wanted to get out of debt just like anybody else, right? I had accumulated, at that time, it was a minimal debt that I was freaking out over, but I was like, hey, I'll do this on the side. On the side of my 9 to 5, I'll sell this one product and I'll do this one service. And that quickly escalated. But I literally just stepped out on faith and I said, God, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. But Krystle just want to get out of debt. So quickly, the money started coming in. The testimonials start coming in, and I'm like, shoot, 6 figures in 6 months. I ain't used to this kind of money,
Right.
So it continued to escalate, and Then my goal was I just want to make money in my sleep so I can bless as many people, right?
Right.
So the money started rolling. I kept blessing, and it was just it literally grew into what I like to call my little empire, right? Um, it's funny that a lot of people don't know when I was in high school, you can ask my parents. I always wanted to be an OBGYN. I
Mm.
wanted to help take care of women. I did summer programs where I shadowed OBGYNs, helping taking care of the female body. I was in the delivery room when certain babies, when babies were born.
Yeah.
Um, but one day I was traumatized when I was doing a summer program with a local doctor here, and we walked in the room and she delivered a stillborn baby. It messed me up. It messed me up. So at that point, I decided I just wanted to learn business. I wanted to learn business, do business, but I could not take delivering a stillborn baby. Like, this lady literally carried a baby for 40 weeks, and when it
Yeah.
came time to deliver, no pre-existing issues, and it was a
Wow.
stillborn baby. And I prayed at that moment, and I said, God, I don't know if it's for me. I said, but whatever you got for me, I'm gonna do it, but I
Right.
might do it a little scared. But so my journey changed, but the outcome literally has brought me so much fulfillment, right? My business allows women to come in and get help with fertility. They get help with PCOS. They get help with endometriosis. They get help with menopause. They get help with irregular cycles and things like that. So I'm still, serving women and helping women, but it's just in a different platform. And when you think about the word free living, and it's spelled PHREE, I literally just want to help people live a well balanced lifestyle. That's it. That's all. Um, and it literally starts with a choice, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I could go on and on, but that's just the gist of it. And I'll tell you, over the 6 years, I have I've made millions, I've
Right.
lost millions, I've lost people,
Yeah.
I've gained a community. I have a community of over 18,000 women on Facebook. Um, but I think the biggest testimony of it all is a little over a year ago, I literally lost it all. Like, I literally almost had to close my doors. I made a decision to let go of every staff member that I had a very good staff of
Wow.
almost 10 individuals. But I prayed about it, and God was like, it's time to make some adjustments.
Right.
And He just kept speaking to me, back to the basics, back to the basics. Because when I first started the business, it was just me. It was
Yeah.
nobody else. And it was at the break of COVID, and I quickly grew the business, just me, back to the basics. So I literally almost lost everything financially. I almost lost the storefront. I literally almost lost my mind. But
Oh,
God,
girl.
I,
Yeah.
but I prayed about it. And one thing that I was always raised, being a Southern girl and
Yeah.
being raised in the church and being raised in the Word, even though I felt like I was losing it all,
Yeah.
I never lost my faith. And I prayed the same prayer to God every single night, every single morning. Lord, if it's your will,
Will. Exactly.
um, let it be. And I'll tell you that He literally has let it be. We're definitely back on the move again, thriving, storefront, beautiful. We did relocate, and I didn't relocate because of the money piece. I relocated to be closer to my home. My storefront was 35-45 minutes away from
I
home.
see. Yeah.
So now I'm about 10 minutes away from home, which allows me to pour more and fall back in love with free living all over again.
Yeah. So you brought up several points, and I want to kind of like dive a little bit more. So, first of all, just for the people that are listening or watching this, I was one of the first original buyers. Just saying.
And I still have my card too. The card
Uh,
that you sent to me for my first grand opening, I
absolutely.
should have brought that, but I have my card. It is on my desk at the
Yeah.
storefront.
So she did it right in COVID, right? In the middle of or right after COVID, or I think it
No,
was
it
like
was during.
during
It was during.
2020, right?
Mhm.
And of course, I'm here in
Yeah.
in Jersey, so I wasn't traveling to Alabama, but I wanted to show my support because I'm all for empowering and connecting with people, and I'm always inspired by what other people are doing, and she was doing it well, in the midst of a very unique time, right? COVID was unkind to some people, and some of us thrived during COVID, but it's how you managed it. So you talked about a lot of the challenges and obstacles and financial life and work. My question to you, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you faced while you were building Free Living? Because I remember when it wasn't Free Living, it was another name, and then you
Her
revamped
Secret
it.
Garden.
Yeah, yes, I remember that. And then like the how you were building to how did you push through? Like what helped you get through those challenges?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. One of the biggest challenges when you start making money, especially in a family who's not used to
Mm,
individuals making as much money, when you're in a community where you have so many poverty stricken areas, it's just a different breed of people, right?
yeah, it is.
Now, I've always been blessed to have a well paying job,
Right.
but when people see lines wrapped around your building and they see, your internet sales, you're consistently sold out, it comes with beggars. It comes with people who always have their hands out.
Yeah.
It comes with she thinks she better than everybody else because she got a little this, she got a little that.
Yep.
Um, I think the hardest thing for me to overcome was people wanting to spend my money more than me.
You're right.
And the sad part is I literally gave away probably I would say anywhere from 75 to 80% of all that I was earning
Wow.
because my day job, my 9 to 5 has always covered the bills,
Right.
always. And I tell entrepreneurs, don't quit that day job.
That
Don't
right.
do it. Yeah, I mean, and even as fast paced as things were going, I still there was a way that you have to prioritize, right? And I don't
Yeah.
like to use the word balance because if you use the word balance, that means I'm giving my business and my day job the same amount of time. It don't work like that because you
Yeah.
got to figure out, family, you got to figure out your extracurricular activities,
Yep.
you got to think about them kids.
Yeah.
So many different things, right? I'm active in my church, so all of those things had to come into place. So never use the word balance because that means I'm giving equal parts to a certain place. Now, I was tithing, I was doing all of these things, but it was just like I could not please people. Not that I cared, but they just wanted so much more. If I gave this organization $1,000, this organization coming and saying, "Well, can I get $2,000?" And it was just draining.
Yeah,
It was really,
especially when you're coming from a community where you're like, I see the need, so I want to help, and that's my intention. You're like, well, yeah, I can help you out, and then you're like, wait a minute now,
yeah,
I'm not seeing the benefit of this,
yeah.
and I feel guilty.
Yeah, yeah. And then the flip side to that is you have family that don't talk to you or,
Mm,
you my cousin, but I ain't seen you in 10, 15 years. But now you over here crazy because she out here doing more in the streets than she doing in her whole family. Oh, you family now?
right.
Where were you when I was having, XYZ going on? So the money piece, a lot of people pray for God to give them the money. A lot of people pray for God to, enlarge my territory and all
Right.
of these things. But the real prayer comes when you start getting these things. Lord, teach me, guide me,
Yeah.
give me the wisdom to manage and disperse this to your people the way that you want me to, right? And I
Right.
think sometimes I got so overwhelmed that I didn't seek him as I should because there's a lot of things I would do different now. But when it came to the money piece, I think that was the most draining.
Yeah.
And the biggest obstacle because so many people wanted so many different things, right?
Yeah.
Um, and free living is a ministry. So I felt I get an adrenaline when I
Yeah.
give back, right? Like that's literally the fulfillment for me. But that money, man, it will tear people, communities, relationships, all of that apart. So my advice to anybody who goes into business and you start making money and making it fast, after you pray for God to enlarge your territory and bless you tenfold and all those prayers that we pray, You
Right.
got to remember to ask him to guide you and lead you, as far as managing, investing, and even dispersing it to his people, because everybody don't deserve your money. They don't.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the part I think we have to continue to have the conversation, right,
Mhm.
with our faith community, because there's a part of us, it's not just what we believe in our belief system, but it's
Mhm.
also, do we really apply it to our
Yeah.
own lives? I mean, you know me well, so you know I'm chick that goes after integrity. I am huge about that. I don't care what you say
Mhm.
to me, talk to me about, whatever. But what I'm finding, and this is a scripture that I live by, it's Proverbs 27:19. It says, water reflects faith, the heart of the man reflects the man. What I my own belief is, when money is involved, it tends to expose the integrity of a person, their heart integrity. And if that's not dealt with, then you
Mhm.
put these unrealistic expectations on the people who are
Yes.
trying to do the right thing, because you're
Mhm.
unwilling to do the right thing. Like,
Mhm.
you and I both have similar talents, right? We both are
Mhm.
business driven. We can rally people. We're influencers, and then there's people who have the same gift, because if we talk about the story of the 5 talents, right? The master gives
Mhm.
5 talents, 3 talents, one. He wasn't impressed with the person that just took the 1 talent and hit it. He was like, "Well, what you doing with it? Are you not multiplying it?" Right? The person with the 1 talent was like, kind of looking at the other people like, "Well, why are they getting all the praises and they doubled it?"
Mhm.
Well, I thought I'll just keep it safe. Well, if you're not putting in the work to expand, then why are we calling ourselves children of God when he says, "I want you to prosper. I've given you talent. Some of those are
Mhm.
natural and some you don't have to work for. And some are coming by circumstance and just determination and choice." So I totally agree, because that thing called money, and,
Whew.
and the wisdom that
Mhm.
comes out of it, right? You have to have the wisdom
Yeah.
to remain steadfast in your belief system and in who you are, because if you say no, then they start to demonize you or ostracize you because you set a
Mhm.
boundary, right? So which brings me to my next question to you is, like, what's your advice to them to get, who are feeling stuck or feeling like they're not winning, and they're trying to determine if they really are on purpose? Is this the devil? Is this, like, what would you tell them to continue on, or what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, my first thing would be to pray. Like, pray and ask God for a clear understanding of who you are, right? I think a lot of people, as they matriculate and start making more money, whether it's making more money in their business or
Mhm.
the first in their family or whatever, they get so excited that they forget who got them there, right?
Yeah.
So continue to seek God, whether you got 100,000 as a salary, or if you got 30,000. Like, at the same, at the same token, it's the same God,
Yeah.
regardless, or where. But Monica, I am a huge advocate of therapy. Get you a counselor, get you a
Mhm.
therapy. Don't wait till things are bad, or you're going through depression or whatever. Get you a therapy, get you somebody to talk to that's not your family, because sometimes what happens is the same people that we're seeking for advice in our family and our friend circle,
Yeah.
and so many other places, are the same people who want us to fail. Having that neutral person for therapy and, just to keep you balanced,
Yeah.
makes a world of difference. That person can literally help change your mindset, which can eventually change your life. Quick story, one of my very best friends, and I love her dearly. I remember when I first started her Secret Garden, which later transferred to Phree Living Company. She told me I was crazy. She said, "Girl, ain't nobody finna buy those yoni wipes. Ain't nobody finna come sit on no thing and get no steam. You didn't did all these different businesses. What make you think this one gonna be any different?" And I actually asked her. That was the first and the last time I asked someone to be a partner with me.
Right.
She talked me completely out of it, and she literally was like, "Girl, let's use that money and go on a vacation." And it hurt my feelings so, so bad, because I knew that I had prayed about it. God had given me a vision clear as day. Um, but those same people who you feel are the closest to you,
Yeah.
perfect example, they'll be the same one to talk you out of your dreams and the vision that God gave you. What if I had to listen to her?
Yeah.
What if I had to listen to her? Like, I have literally changed people's lives. I've literally saved marriages. I've helped so many women have babies.
Yeah.
If I had to listen to that, I would be probably miserable and struggling to find purpose because I let someone close to me talk me out of what God,
Yeah.
the path that He had laid for me. So I definitely say get you a counselor, get you a therapist, especially if you're a business owner. Like, I am a busy woman, but you know what? At minimum, twice a month.
Mhm.
You know, they used to say sitting on the somebody's couch, but
Couch,
now
right.
it's virtual. So I'm gonna sit on my own couch while I talk to you. But you have to have those moments, and you have to have that neutral person to remind you of who you are. Like, I'm a bad girl. Like,
Yeah.
especially when I have a clear mind and a clear understanding, and I've prayed and the vision is clear. Um, but it all, for me, it all boils back to having that therapy and that counseling session. And I listen, these people around me, I have family members that make over six figures, and I have some that barely make $2.
Right.
I don't care who it is, they ain't finna talk me out of what God has for me.
Yeah. And that's the point, right? Like, again, like going through, like, 'cause I'm with you, I go to therapy as
Mhm.
well. Like, being like you and I have a shared story because we've been through. So for those who want to know, so Krystle and I are pageant queens. So and so oftentimes, like I remember, and still to this day, I still look at you as like, man, she is living the dream. But then hearing your story and knowing your story is like, dang, everybody's going through something, right? And so,
Mhm.
which is probably one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, I really need to start this podcast because everybody's going through something.
Mhm.
And again, that's why it's called the faith flex. It's really you taking the time to flex your faith and what
Mhm.
God has called you to, God's what purpose He's ordained in your life. And it doesn't mean that it has to look like everybody else. Now,
Mhm.
I was stuck. Let me tell you what I did. So I'm thinking, because I should have started this in 2020, right? Right when we're in COVID, because everybody's in front of a camera
Uh-huh.
and a laptop. So I was like, well, who wants to talk to me? Like, I have nothing to offer in a conversation to anyone other than just, can we just do the right thing? Like, just do the
Mhm.
right thing, right? What I discovered over the years is that people were like, "Yeah, you're changing my life of just either not just what you're saying, Monica, but how you live. Like what you say
Mhm.
lines up to how you live, right?"
Mhm.
And I remember it was December 3. I came back from my vacation in Switzerland, and I was like, "Man, you know what? We're going to just do this and see what happens. We're going to jump." And it ended up going really well. And then people were like, "Are you getting this professionally done?" No, I'm doing all this myself. But I need to make sure that it's set up the right way, right? And so my
Mhm.
point is, I was actually paralyzed out of my own fear because I talked my own self out of it because I was
Mhm.
like, okay, nobody wants to hear me talk. And then there's like people like you and people in our own community. There's like, you should write a book. Well, I've done that. You should, speak. I do that all the time. So what am I doing a podcast for? But it's like memorizing your space. But what I am
Mhm.
learning and what I've learned now is that it's not about the thousands of people. It's about the person that you're supposed to impact, and then they
Mhm.
becomes what's next, right? And so
Yeah.
for you in free living, it's like these are products that are supposed to help those that I'm called
Mhm.
to help in a unique space. And then it is your responsibility as God continues to favor it is to what? For you to steward it well. And part of that is
Mhm.
going to therapy and saying, okay, I'm not 100%, so I need you to help me get way at least 90% so I can do this thing
Yeah.
right, you know?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the daily habits that you have to continue to, pursue this journey of being a entrepreneur, a mom, a philanthropist, a top seller at your company? Because it's not even, looking down the week or the month. It's like, can I just get to the next hour? My goodness.
So one of my everybody can't do this. One of the things that I do every single day is I get up at 5 a.m. Um, I can get more done between the hours of 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. than most people can get done in a day. You know, you have so many people that believe in oh, I'm gonna work late, I'm gonna stay up to midnight, or I'm up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning doing this. For me, my brain don't work like that. I can't do it. I'm blind. After about 10 o'clock, I'm done, right? So for me, staying up late really is, I'm not giving my best.
Yeah.
I'm not. So for me, I'd rather go to bed at 10
Yeah.
and get back up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when my mind is clear. I'm going to start every day with some type of meditation. I'm going to ask, pray. I'm going to listen to anybody know me. No, I'm going to listen to my praise and worship. I'm
Right.
going to get up and I'm just going to set the tone for my day, right? Um, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at my business. What do I need to accomplish today for Phree Living? Um, and then if it's something I can knock out, then I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then by 8 o'clock, I'm gonna get them other people their time, right? Their
Right.
corporate job, because that's has kept the lights on all these years.
Right.
And one thing I've learned that when I lay down at night, I always look at my calendar for the next day. So when I wake up, I don't have any surprises.
Yeah.
But I even take it a step further. On Sundays, I literally map out my whole week. Now, most of the time, it does not end up like that, but I
You
have
and
an
me both.
idea. But I have an idea of going into every single day what I'm facing, right? And the old saying, or the popular saying is, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And I truly believe that, right? Because if I don't think about what's next or what's to come, when you're dealing with a business, you're dealing with a corporate job, you're dealing with being a mom, as we get older, our parents, we got to raise them. So I got to think about what I got to do for my daddy,
Right.
and all of those things. So if I don't plan and manage my time wisely, I'm gonna be beat up. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be burnout and everything else. So literally starting my day at 5 a.m. is probably the game changer for me. If I sleep in, it was so funny. We've been on spring break here all week. And one day I slept to 8 o'clock and Ian thought something was wrong with me. He was like, I didn't hear no music. He was like, Mom, I had to come in here and make sure you were okay. But literally, I just get so much done
Yeah.
in that hour. And by the time 8 o'clock come, I done had 2 cups of coffee and I done meditated and prayed and did whatever else. So I'm like, what's up? What we doing?
Yeah, I think that's what everyone should do, right? Like I'm the same way. But if 5 a.m. I'm in the gym, right? So I try to get to
Yeah.
the gym at 5, knock out my 40-minute workout. I'm back at the house. Then I'm trying to figure out, am I breathing or dying because that workout was tough. And then I'm up, like, grabbing my coffee. I'll hop on and do like you. I'll get everything done for NLDN. I'll get everything done for Faithless. I'll get everything done for PCOSAA. Like I'll get
Mhm.
all that done, and by like 8:30, I'm like, well,
Mhm.
dang, I got all that finished. Okay, now
Mhm.
now I can do
Oh,
my 8 to 5. So and so really, and you have to decide like what works for you. Some people are night owls. They get their best thinking done in the middle of the night.
yeah.
So I think one of the things that is really important to the body of Christ is us setting good disciplines, right? And again, yes, God is going to be there with us, but we have to partner with Him to do the right thing. Part of that is
Mhm.
us storing our own time. He says that He's given us dominion and power over our own lives. He's given us
Mhm.
dominion and power over our talents and gifts. So there is some things He's waiting for on us to do in order for Him to
Mhm.
trust that we can do more. And so by setting those disciplines, then like someone like yourself can run your entrepreneurship and still have your corporate job and
Mhm.
still be a philanthropist and a community activist in this space. So talking about communities activists, so I read that there was incident that took place at your building, Free Living. So talk to me about that and the community, and what was your first initial, like, how did you feel, to what made you go down the path that you did to come to a resolution.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks ago now, I was sitting at a funeral and my phone kept ringing, and it was the young lady who I get my glass out my windows painted, with the seasons and the holidays, of my storefront. So we were transitioning from Valentine's Day to spring, and when she went to take the old Valentine's Day stuff up off to put the new things up, she found the N word, kind of scribed into one of my windows. Um, she was freaking out, but in that moment, I didn't know what I felt, so the funeral that I was at was about an hour away from home. So she sent me the pictures, and the first thing I asked her was, did she feel safe, right? She
Right.
felt safe, but she was upset, whatever. But as I drove home, so many thoughts went through my head. Like, first thing was, it is 2025. What
Right.
the heck are these people thinking?
Right.
Then I got to thinking, well, Krystle, you are in Athens, Alabama, and it's my hometown, what makes it kind of a little bit worse, right?
Right.
Um, but you went to school and you grew up with these people who they were taught racism.
Yeah.
They were not, and so many people around here, I don't believe that's how they truly are,
Right.
but so many people here are taught racism. And I witnessed it firsthand. And then I got to thinking, well, dang, I was raised by a biracial mama. So some of these people walking around here probably my cousins too, on
Anyway.
what regardless of the color of their skin, right?
Yeah.
So then I got angry, and
Yeah.
then I just started feeling overwhelmed. And then I just started praying, because at the end of the day, I knew my reaction was going to trigger something bigger than me. I had my son watching me. I had my two younger cousins who are teenagers watching me. And I knew that how I responded, what could affect my son at the high school, because he
Yeah.
goes to the high school in this city. It could affect my parents, how they live in this city.
Yeah.
So I really just had to pray, and I said, God, I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. And remember praying about it again, and it was just like He said, you gotta say something.
Right.
And I was like, Lord, don't do this to me. Like, me and God got that relationship where I can
Yeah.
kind of tell him, like, he my dad. I talked to him like he Harold Johnson, and he was like, you gotta say something. And I'm
Right.
like, Lord, I said, I don't feel like stirring the pot around here. But I'll tell you, Monica, I struggled with, I know I moved from Huntsville to Athens, which is 30, 45 minutes
Yeah.
apart. But I struggle why it was so heavy on me to move my business from Huntsville to Athens. And he said, I'm about to show you.
Right.
And he did. So, I made a post on social media that triggered a lot of things in this city. And, it prompted me to meet with the mayor, Chamber of Commerce. And to be very honest with you, I had 3 to 4 asks when I walked into that meeting. And it was, oh, yeah, we're going to help you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, yada, yada, yada. Nothing has been done.
Mm.
So I've had time to really pray and seek God. And um, I'll tell you, this upcoming week is going to be, it's going to be interesting, because they told me to hold them accountable.
Mm.
And I'm big on accountability. So just like I called you out before, I'm gonna call you out again. Because the thing is, I made myself available to be a part of the solution,
Yeah.
and you haven't done your part. So but I will say that it has made other businesses of color in this town come out, and some of the things that has happened in their business,
Wow.
10 times worse than what's happened to mine. So I'm starting to understand why this move was so pressing to me. One of the young ladies, I was fortunate enough to stand with her and kind of guide her through um, one of the attacks that recently happened on her business. But I don't know what the future looks like with this, but I know that I have to be a part of the solution. So um, y'all keep me prayed. Y'all keep me lifted, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not leaving the town.
Right.
I'm not shutting my business down.
Right.
But I'm going to hold these people accountable, because I owe it to myself, but I also owe it to my son who wants to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
I owe it to these other children that watch every move that I make. Now, I will say, let me add a star right there. There are some amazing people in this town. Um, I'm one of the very few families of color in my neighborhood. And when I tell you, my neighbors have come to me and done nothing but love on me, and encouraged me and stood beside me.
Yeah.
It really means a lot. But those few people that are bold enough to step out like that, we've got to work on that, because for
Yeah.
you to come to my business and felt the audacity,
Or emboldened.
oh, yeah, and but it just shows me that God has really worked on me,
Yeah.
because I know the old me would have been angry, mad, probably cursing and acting a fool. But my son told me the other day, he said, Mama, you have been so gentle in this season. And I
Mm,
really had to process it.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's is important. And, one of the things that, like, we're in 2025, and we should be so much further past the
Mm-hmm.
divide
Mm-hmm.
on based on race and gender and all of that. But we're not. And then part of that is because, I've said it before, I feel like America has Stockholm syndrome and we went back to our abuser. But I also believe that we, people of faith, we have to check our lens. And so my pastor said this, posted this message on Facebook, and he said our beliefs and our values are like prescription glasses,
Mm.
right? And if you have the wrong prescription,
Mm.
you won't
That's
steer
good.
clearly, yeah, right? And I'm thinking, well, dang, that's so good,
Yeah.
because he's right. And I think even now, when we are looking at situations in our lives, either again, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's work, life, if it's a decision you have to make when you have to move, or a decision that you have to make based on your career, based on if you're going to stay in a relationship that is not healthy or unhealthy, or you have to set boundaries with parents who are immature or unhealthy,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is, it is still your responsibility, because you have already been given the power and authority to navigate those
Mm-hmm.
challenges that you have. And then if life is good for you or good to you,
Mm-hmm.
then you are still empowered and held responsible to speak up for those who are not and be the advocate in the room.
Yeah.
It's more than just being the lender and the borrower, and it's not just money, but being the lender is lending your voice or lending your influence, lending your stance and your beliefs. So it's more than just a small lens. It is a
Mm-hmm.
broader advocacy that we as a community have to come together. But most of all, anything as a kingdom collective, we have to do better,
Yeah.
and not allow people to dictate to us
Mm-hmm.
without good counsel and without wisdom, um, what we can and cannot do. Now, some people just needs to listen to good counsel. Some of us just being fooled.
And
But
some of us are hearing good counsel, but we just don't put it into play.
yeah, we just ignoring
That's a
folk.
whole nother conversation.
Girl, that's a whole nother episode. Um, and so I think it's really, really important that we do the right things, and then for those who are like, well, is it really God? And or if God is really quiet, it's not that he's quiet. He's like, I've already told you. I gave you the very thing that you need to get it done, or at least get it started. And if I share my own testimony, that's where I start with this podcast. Is Monica, you kind of already know how to do this. You already know what it
Mm-hmm.
somewhat needs to look like. So just jump. And what's the worst
Yeah.
going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't go anywhere, but clearly is going somewhere after a year of
Yeah.
being around. So I know we're getting close to wrapping up, but I wanted to ask you this other question, and that is, what's next for Phree Living and Krystle Nicole? Like, what's going on? I need this. I need the tea.
Listen, I don't know. So, um, a lot of people don't even know this. I was married. I recently went through a horrible, horrendous divorce. So, Krystle is redefining who Krystle is,
Mm,
which is allowing me to fall back in love with Phree Living Company,
yeah,
which is allowing me to become a creative again, which I absolutely am having fun with. Um, I am in the process of working on a devotional to help us as we go
I
through
love.
those depressing times, because a lot of people don't understand when you're going through depression. Sometimes I don't want to hear nobody's voice. I don't want to hear,
Amen to
oh, you're going to
that.
be all right. You're going to do this. You're going to be that. Ma'am, I just lost a man that I thought was my soulmate and my everything. And you're telling me that I'm going to be all right. I don't want to hear that right now.
Right,
Right. So,
right.
as I was going through, those past few months where I would literally go in the room after I took Ian to school, and then I wouldn't come out till time to pick him up. And I can't tell you what happened in between.
Wow.
So, giving people, and not just women, right?
Yeah,
Giving people something that they can read and recite and continue to go back to
yeah,
when they're going through those times is very important to me. So 2025, I'm gonna add author to my name.
yeah. Come on here.
I've never written a book or anything like that. So I'm just looking just to be better every single day. I'm going to get back to my community service, something that I really love that I feel I have been slacking. I still do more than what a lot of people do, but
Yeah.
it's my heart. It's
Yeah.
my calling, it's my passion. My grandmother used to wake up every single day. I just thank God for peace of mind.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thank God that I was able to open my eyes and be in my right mind. Until you experience not being in your right mind, you take all of that for granted. So I'm just in that season where I'm just grateful every single day. Like it's a new, it's not a new Krystle, but it's a better Krystle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just excited about whatever God has for me.
But I think what is really important is what you said, right? Is rediscovering who you are and being okay with that sometimes and oftentimes you may have to redefine yourself on a regular basis, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
journey, it's not a perfect formula. And so I think we need to take off the unrealistic expectations, be willing to pivot if necessary, be
Yeah.
willing to reprioritize if necessary. Just last week in our last week's episode, we talk about the balancing act, being able to manage the things that you're responsible for without losing who you are. It's important, right? Balance is not about being perfect, it's really about just prioritizing. So,
Yeah.
listen, if you got to reprioritize daily, an hour, whatever it is, do such a
It's
thing.
okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay to do it.
So, Monica, we got to go back one moment. You said something that really, I just spoke about this today. When we're setting our goals and trying to get to the next level or getting back to ourselves, you cannot allow your situations to define who you are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's so good.
I just went through a divorce, but guess what? I'm not out here. I can't meet this goal because I just went through a divorce. Or Lord, my kids ain't acting right, so I can't do this. I can't do that. You
Yeah,
already talking yourself out of it. So how are you going to do it? And I think that's just key because so many people have that mentality where whether you call it an excuse or hiding behind that. One thing I told God, I will never say I can't do something because of my divorce. It took me through it and I almost lost my mind, but at the end of the day, I still have it.
yeah,
I can still get up, put my glasses on because I can't see nothing. I can get up, brush my teeth, and I can get up and try to make it happen. And so many people allow their situations to define them.
yeah,
People who have, and this is a sensitive subject, but just because I may have cancer or just because I
yeah.
may be
That's good.
whatever, stop letting those things define you. You are still here.
Yeah,
I may be confined to the bed, but I can start my podcast from the bed if
sure
that's
can.
a goal or a dream that I wanted to do. I can write that book just because I just lost my job doesn't mean I can't write a book. So my encouragement, my advice is to stop allowing our situations to define us because that's another way that we're standing in our own way and not allowing God to uh do his work for us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shut up because we could keep going.
No, girl, absolutely. I mean, it's perfect, right? Because I was going to say, it sounds to me that even though I'm sure there's still a ton of fear and
Mhm.
and thoughts that you have, like what I'm sure at one point you were like, what are people going to think when they find out? If how could I have let this happen? That type of
Mhm.
level of conversation. But then you still got up and you straighten your shoulders, you just stiffen your spine. It was like, you know what? I'm still here and I'm still breathing. And whatever that little bit that you feel
Mhm.
like you can hold on to, let that be
Yeah.
that faith. Because remember,
Yeah.
faith as the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. That's all that it takes.
Yeah.
And so, jump, leap, run. And then, but like Krystle said earlier, you know, connect with a community of people that are going to walk with you. Don't do it by yourself, but get a
Yeah.
therapist. Like get someone that can be objective and walk you through your hurt so that or challenges or anger or frustration or I just don't know. But
Yeah.
then also be intentional about your self-care because part of that is no one else is going to care for you better than you. So take good care of you.
And I tell people therapy saved a lot of people's lives around me
Oh,
because I
girl.
literally listen, it saved my life, but in this last season I went through, it saved a lot of life and saved me from having to put on that orange jumpsuit. Because at the end of the day, I joke about it, but I'm somebody's mama.
Yeah.
And, I can't allow those temporary situations to take me away from my first assignment. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta raise this boy. I gotta feed him, I gotta clothe him, I gotta pour into him, and I've gotta set him up to be, a decent human. But listen, go to therapy because it's gonna save them people's lives around you, and no better feeling is to get through
I
it.
hear you. Oh my gosh. So you listen, Faithless community. Look, we have Krystle Nicole from the Phree Living Company. Amazing. She is going to be back because obviously we have a lot to talk about and catch up on. So don't think she's not going to be back this year. I definitely will bring her back. But I want to give Krystle opportunity. One key message. If you could tell the future or past Krystle, what would that be?
I've said this from day one. You've heard me say it in pageants. People have heard me say it on a public platform. Your past, your situations, all of those things do not determine your future. You have everything that you need to change the narrative, right? Pray, seek God, and get up and go.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is stopping you but you. Just because I was born into poverty, and my parents or whomever lived check to check, or they lived in public housing, whatever the scenario was, that doesn't define who I have to be today. So the choice is yours, but your past or your current situations don't have to determine your future. It's up to you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Listen, you guys, if you are in need of, and you should be, or know someone who's in need of some holistic feminine products or men
Mhm.
supplements and things that are going to allow you to care for yourself well, make sure you check out www.phreelivingco.com,
There you go.
and or check out Krystle Nicole on on any of the social media platforms. So with that said, listen, I am super excited that you guys were with me today, and you already know what you need to do. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you're going to join me next week for another episode here on the Faith Flex podcast. But until next time, remember to flex your faith. Thanks, guys. And that's a wrap on today's soul-stirring episode of the Faith Flex podcast. I hope you're leaving feeling uplifted and equipped to turn your everyday experience into stepping stones for spiritual growth and practical living. Thank you for tuning in and sharing your time with me. Be sure to subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a review if you enjoyed the journey today. Your support means the world to me, and it helps bring this message to more listeners who are searching for harmony between their spiritual walk and action. Until next time, remember to flex your faith.